Two players are now former Jaguars, as wide receiver Allen Robinson is headed to Chicago on a 3-year, $42 million deal, and cornerback Aaron Colvin intends to sign a 4-year deal with the Houston Texans. Join 1010XL for March Madness watch parties. Thursday, noon to 3 at Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar, and 3 to 6 at Seven Bridges, and Friday, noon to 3 at Culhane's Irish Pub, and 3 to 6 back at Boston's. Stay tuned for Helmets and Heels built by Dreamfinders Homes. That's next.
Sports on Jacksonville Sports Station 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. It's presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products on 1010XL. Now your hosts,
Lauren Brooks.
Donna Murphy and Blythe Crowley.
Good evening, ladies.
Hello.
Are you feeling good that none of us were signed to a different show today?
Feels great. I like that.
It's been fast and furious. At what point today did you start checking Twitter and then never stop looking at it because everything was just flying out there?
From first thing this morning. I was a little annoyed because I wanted to accomplish a lot today and I just couldn't. And once that kind of news starts rolling out, then you just become addicted to it.
Yeah, it was, I think about 7:30 this morning was the first thing I saw. My cousin texted me right after that, and she's like, whoa, the news! And then it literally has not stopped. I think we're finally starting to see things slow down, and what's crazy to me are guys like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, and how much information goes through the two of them.
And how early in the morning!
And right, the deals, you know, it seemed almost like they were getting done overnight, and so they, I don't think they got any sleep, and I'm certainly glad I get to just take it in by looking at Twitter and not having my phone go incredibly crazy. All right, so the Jaguars made a big splash that a lot of people were not expecting to have happen. The Jaguars are going to spend, you just heard in the update, $66.5 million on guard Andrew Norwell, who played with the Panthers. He did not allow a sack or a hit on Cam Newton last season, so it seems like the stats prove that he's worth this kind of money. What did y'all think when that came across the newswire?
Yes.
Hell yeah!
Like, it's fun, especially since last offseason. It seems like everything that you've always wanted in a team, and you think you know what you're talking about when it's like, okay, they need to sign this guy or at least this position and this. They're doing it. They're doing everything you want them to do. Obviously, you have the few, which is they couldn't hold on to A-Rob, but give or take, it doesn't really seem like that was a real issue, but getting the offensive line solidified, that's huge. That is so wonderful.
I mean, it's not as sexy as like a wide receiver or a quarterback, which I think is what a lot of fans sort of harp on, but championships are built in the trenches. And when the run game, sure, the Jaguars were first in the league last year in rushing yards, but towards the end of the season, that run game really started to struggle, and I think that we needed some depth at the O-line, and that O-line is always going to be a position of need in the NFL, especially when it's this dire across the entire league. So be able to go out and get the best guy that's out there, I think, to me, it was a much better signing than trying to overpay for A-Rob.
Well, and certainly Allen Robinson is going to head to Chicago on a deal that I was shocked that he was going to get $25 million guaranteed when he's coming off of a torn ACL and hasn't been able to practice yet. Yes, there's videos out there on social media of him and his recovery, but I was shocked that they were going to give him, the Bears are going to give him $25 million guaranteed. Did that surprise you?
I mean, I knew that free agency, you're always going to overspend as far as players are concerned, and I don't fault A-Rob because he wants to get paid. He wants to go to a team that's going to, I guess, appreciate him, and I think that maybe after, I think that the biggest thing with the Jaguars not re-signing A-Rob was the ACL. They were very hesitant to sign him on that deal, but when you think about it in the long, I guess in just last season's perspective, this is the guy that was not around the team as they had this sort of, I guess, famous chemistry building that really started to develop and really started to shine all throughout the season. As the season went on, the team started to gel and really started to play together as a family and as a brotherhood. And Allen Robinson wasn't a part of all that. And so I really think that had a big impact. And then the Jaguars not necessarily trusting that ACL, which rightfully so. They shouldn't trust a guy that's coming off of an ACL injury. And if the Chicago Bears are going to pay him big bucks to do it, then you got to do what you got to do as a player. You've been playing this game your whole life. Go get paid. Go get your money.
Yeah, and certainly that's going to be the most important thing for these players. And I think if you talk to a lot of NFL guys, the more guaranteed money in their contracts, the better they feel. That makes perfect sense. Obviously, the more guaranteed money, the more you make overall. But they feel like their contracts should be almost fully guaranteed because of how violent of a sport it is. So certainly good for him to be able to go somewhere where he can get paid. I'm not sure that he's going to end up with better numbers in Chicago than he would have playing with Blake Bortles here next year, especially looking at the guys around him here. He would have clearly been that number one receiver. But in the end, he wanted the money, and I certainly am never going to fault someone for going after what will secure them and their family and probably generations to come. Pete Prisco tweeted out from CBS Sports that he felt like the Jaguars are going to regress if they are doing things like working on the offensive line much more so than securing a weapon in Allen Robinson for Blake Bortles. Now, this was before the Dante Moncrief news came out. The Jaguars are going to sign that wide receiver from the Colts. Do you agree with the way he's talking? I mean, it does make sense in the fact that the NFL is moving towards, and has been, towards a pass-heavy league, and you're actually going, never mind, we're going to be ground and pound.
The simple fact is, did you see them regress last season? And they didn't have him? So the answer is no. I don't understand how he could even think of that. Solidifying the offensive line should be the most important thing, along with tight end. You already have some 2 stud wide receivers. If Bortles ends up having a fantastic year and actually spirals the ball where it needs to go, then they can shine again. You know, that's what is up in the air, but you need time to be able to decide where to throw it, and that starts with the offensive line.
Exactly. You can't run and you can't pass without a solidified offensive line, and the Jaguars, it really cemented that today.
And see, I thought left guard Patrick Omameh played pretty well last season, and I thought there was a significant drop-off when he wasn't in the game when it came to running the ball. But obviously, Tom Coughlin, Dave Caldwell, and Doug Marrone said there's somebody even better than him that we can go get. And who knows, maybe we'll see. I know O'Halloran tweeted out this morning that maybe Omameh can go and battle A.J. Cann for that right guard position.
Which would be great.
Then that's even better, right, because you have competition there. And it just, I think in Pete's line of thinking, again, this was before the Moncrief news came out, but you can't necessarily say we're going to be a run-first, run-heavy offense in today's NFL and plan to be successful, except that is what they were last year. And other than a few games where they couldn't really move the ball on the ground, they were able to obviously get to the AFC title game. So I get his line of thinking, but I do think that Dante Moncrief could be potentially an even better receiver than Allen Robinson.
Well, I think that the NFL is always going to be a run-first league. That's how you control the clock. That's how you control play calling. That's how you can pass more often, is when you establish that run game first. And with a lot of different teams, I think Ezekiel Elliott was really the first running back to really change that perception in recent years. And I think that's why the Jaguars saw what the Cowboys were doing and saw how successful it was. When you have a mobile-style quarterback and you have a great offensive line, you can run the ball at will, and that's what they're trying to do with Fournette. And I personally, I like this game plan. I trust what the organization is doing now. That this is starkly different from what happened last year. We were questioning every single move. Now there's a little bit of trust involved because you have Tom Coughlin there, you have Dave Caldwell, and you have Doug Marrone. They have a year under their belt together, and now let's just build upon what we had going last year and trust the process.
Well, and I think that's the best part that came out of last season almost. Yes, the run was awesome, and the 10 wins in the regular season were fantastic, and the playoff run, the postseason run was great. But if you don't win the Super Bowl, it's almost like you didn't really do anything anyway. Yeah, the AFC South, sure, champions, great. But the most important thing to me, now that I'm able to reflect and not be as upset, as I was right after the loss to the Patriots, is we are now able to trust in the executives that are in place and in the decisions that they are making. If this was a year ago and they were letting A-Rob walk, I would just lose my mind thinking...
Pitchforks in the street.
Right, thinking how on earth can you let this guy that you saw fit to draft and is clearly your biggest, most physical receiver and much more talented than the other guys walk. But you know what? Now I believe that they looked at the situation and said he's not worth the amount of money he's going to expect. He is not going to be as healthy as we want him to be at the start of camp. And I wonder, too, the extremely physical camp that they had all the players go through last year, I wonder if that'll be the same as this year. And if they are trying to get guys that are ready for that type of situation, and a guy like Dante Moncrief last year with the Colts, there were some questions about his motivation, and they a lot of times, I guess, thought he would disappear in games, and he's this physical guy. So is he able to kind of come here and get into a culture that basically doesn't allow for him to do anything other than perform at his best?
Well, and that's what it seems like these free agent signings from last offseason to now seem to be centered around, and that is the importance of leadership. And losing Puz will stink. I mean, that's going to be so awful for the locker room. But they have people centered and motivated so much. So I think that the top leaders in the locker room will put him in check if need be.
Well, and that's what I want to get into next segment is Paul Posluszny and the legacy that he'll leave here.
And I think, especially with playing on the Colts last year, it was such a hopeless team all season long. They never really got any traction going. So I could see the sort of human nature with Moncrief sort of falling off a little bit. Like, why go out and injure yourself for a team that's going nowhere?
Well, and the quarterback drop-off too, right? Mm-hmm. He had Andrew Luck, and he performed really well. And then obviously Luck had issues with his shoulder and wasn't able to play last year. And I wonder if, we all thought that Luck was going to come back. That's kind of what the Colts brass had said. And then he never was able to. So I wonder what the players knew going in, and if that kind of affected him and his mentality and him mentally. And then Jacoby Brissett was okay, but certainly not the same type and definitely not the same style of quarterback that Luck is.
Well, what I kind of like about the guard signing and then Moncrief signing is that these are guys that want to come to Jacksonville. Is it Norwell or Neville? I keep thinking Neville because Fantastic Beasts came out with a new preview today. But Norwell, he chose. Norwell chose Jacksonville. I think it was the Giants and the 49ers that were in the mix as well, and he chose to come here, which is vastly different than previous perception, where Jacksonville is just a place that you go take a vacation and collect a check. Now guys are coming here because hopefully they want to win.
Yeah, who was that player that famously said that? He was one of the defensive
Julius
backs.
Thomas did it.
Yeah, but
somebody else said it about him.
There was a guy that I think went to the Giants after leaving here. I cannot remember his name now. I'll figure it out. But yeah, now I think you look at it and you wouldn't want to go to the Giants. That franchise is a mess, whereas in Jacksonville they're very close, and at least they were last year. It's in a whole different year. But you'd think they're very close, and they are all about winning now. And when you hear that as a free agent, you think, hey, I'm going to get paid and I can win now. Sign me on.
I do. A little part of me wonders how, if Allen Robinson say he doesn't live up to par up in Chicago, how he's going to deal with Boo Birds in Chicago, because that market is vastly enormous compared to Jacksonville's market.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we come back, Aaron Ross, that's his name. I remember, wasn't his wife an Olympian?
Yeah, he was here.
Yeah.
He did play here, too.
He did. Yep. But anyway, when we come back, we're going to get to Paul Posluszny and also some quarterback conversation. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes with Donna Murphy, Blythe Brumley, Lauren Brooks, and our producer filling in tonight, JJ La Selva, because Tyler has the night off. Keep it right here on 1010XL.
Get more play-by-play on
Hey, you have a live read in like 30 seconds.
All right, you got it.
Bulls versus Episcopal, Friday night at 7 on 1010 a.m. Hey, it's Rick Blue. How'd you like to get your electric bill paid? Higher 2018 Jaguars regulation.
Welcome in, guys. We're live on YouTube until 9 p.m. tonight. Let me think. What do we have? I already forgot what we're going to talk about. Blake Bortles is not a top QB in the league. We're going to talk about that.
10 seconds.
10 seconds? For what?
She has a live read.
Oh. We gotta wait.
If you're in the market for a Dreamfinders beach home, act now to receive a complimentary gourmet kitchen upgrade with the purchase of your new home in the Preserve at Ponte Vedra Lakes. If you haven't visited yet, this is a must-see for Ponte Vedra. Now through April 30th, when you purchase a home in the Preserve at Ponte Vedra Lakes, use the code Helmets and Heels to receive your gourmet kitchen upgrade. That's Helmets and Heels for your complimentary gourmet kitchen upgrade only at the Preserve at Ponte Vedra Lakes by Dreamfinders Homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was much more prepared this week than last week.
My other team is doing nothing but letting everybody go.
Who'd you let go besides Amendola and Malcolm Butler?
Go ahead. Nate Solder will probably go.
Oh, see,
Everybody,
I thought he
everybody
might
go,
stay.
Go. Just go.
Don't they do this every year though?
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
That's it. I heard T-Wick talking earlier today about the importance of you need to pay your homegrown or your homegrown talent. Not necessarily homegrown, but the guys that you draft and.
Not if you go to New England.
But I mean, that's what the Jaguars did not do.
You don't pay
Yeah, he was
nobody.
a little upset that they didn't. What else are we going to?
I'm just surprised, and I couldn't find it. I wonder if the Niners even offered him anything. Because why would you choose cold weather and Mitch Trubisky over California and Garoppolo? Why would you do that? I mean, is it that much important to get? I don't know. Maybe
It could have been like
$3 million
guaranteed money, though.
You know?
If I was a GM, I wouldn't pay someone coming off of an ACL that much guaranteed money. I wouldn't do it.
That's what
I
I'm
would
wondering.
say-
I wonder what the Niners even offered him if they did.
Yeah.
Because it
Well, and
just
that's the
seemed
sad part is you never know.
No, it just seemed too perfect for him to go to
Yeah.
San Fran. I'm like, I would be so happy for him. Now he's in Chicago. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, he's picking a worse quarterback.
Where is he on that list? Let me see. Is he even on the list? I gotta look and see.
And he's picking cold weather. He's going to play
I know.
outdoors.
That's why I was.
So when they get to the winter months,
But
they're not
he's
going to be
from
passing a
Detroit,
lot.
So
Yeah, but once you get out of that, it takes a while to acclimate yourself back to that cold weather.
that Mahomes, that one makes me
He
so
didn't even
mad.
play. How did
I'm
he play
telling
a
you.
snap?
No, so Trubisky's not even on this list either. So
Mahomes started a game.
yeah, he started one game.
Which I don't know what the damn Chiefs are doing either.
They had Keith Talib sitting out there, even Cole. I'm like, get anybody for the secondary, please.
I feel like Talib wouldn't fit, but I feel like Colvin would have it. It's just I bet they wouldn't pay him.
Well, I'm surprised because Talib. Well, the reports were that both Talib and Sherman wanted to go there, and then neither of them go. So I was like, you guys got
Did
my
you know
hopes
that Sherman negotiated his entire contract himself?
Good for
Yeah.
him.
I thought that was awesome. Like he brought his own he brought the top 10
Good for him.
corners in the league. He brought a copy of their contracts to the meeting and said, "Let's hammer out a deal. Let's get it done now." And he did the deal
That's why
himself.
almost none of his contracts guaranteed. Man.
It's
Yeah.
all incentive based.
Yeah, but a real agent would never do that. Like,
Yeah.
But
no
I
guaranteed money in the NFL is bad.
But you also don't necessarily know if the agent is always looking out for the best
well,
for
he
the
doesn't have to
player,
pay
or
an agent either.
Right,
You know,
right.
exactly.
Like 10%.
and I think he's a smart enough dude to be able to negotiate his own contracts. And
Yeah,
and
but
he
his
gets back to
contract- My point is his contract isn't good though.
like Joe Thomas said,
they
he
can
feels
get rid
bad
of his
for
ass
him.
whenever, and he doesn't get paid basically anything. Which any NFL contract is going to be guaranteed a lot because they're going to get hurt, you know.
But if he does, he's a guy that I think a
He's
lot of
also
players are
old.
still.
He's older, you know. I mean, I wish the best for him. I'm just saying
I think he's made enough money.
Trashing
Right.
the contract, you know, it's not a good one for NFL standards.
Well, I feel like if he's an incentive
Do you
driven
want me to bring
guy,
this
then
back?
that's going to be the
Oh,
best
yeah,
option
I was
for
gonna
him, as
see
long
if
as
you
he doesn't
wanted
get
to
hurt.
throw
If he
Yeah,
gets
that's
hurt,
the
then
thing.
he's
there,
screwed.
and then
20
get to your
seconds.
quarterback thing.
I
Yes,
like
we can.
it.
We don't have to spend too much.
I
time.
love his
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ran out of time.
Join Jaguars today, along with Cowan's Heating and Air Conditioning Hot Seat Hot. Listen to Mike and Tony, 10 minutes.
All right, here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heating and Air Conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
on 1010 XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. Well, today was somewhat of a sad day in Jags world. That would be because we heard the announcement of the retirement of Paul Posluszny, 11 seasons in the league. And what do you feel will be his legacy here in Jacksonville?
I think it's going to be that he was one of the most wonderful players in the locker room, who played his absolute heart out, who gave it 100%. I hate when people use the over 100%, but he gave it 100%. He played through injury. He was on some terrible teams, yet he never let that come out to the media. If he ever felt that at home, we don't know, but he wrote one of the most beautiful retirement letters I've ever written. He was so incredibly grateful, and getting to interview him a few times as he was a Jaguar, he always seemed extraordinarily respectful. And was he the absolute best middle linebacker? No, because he probably lacked some God-given talents. But if he had had the same type of speed, I think, as some other guys, he might go down as one of the best linebackers ever in NFL history. I just don't think he was given that talent. So I think he tackled extraordinarily well, and overall just one of the absolute best guys to have in your locker room. Such a professional.
Definitely a locker room first guy, and he's always going to be the kind of guy that you go to and he gives the picture perfect answer to every question you're going to ask. Team first. Even when the Jaguars drafted Miles Jack, he sort of saw the writing on the walls and he handled it like a professional. I don't think there's anything more that you can ask out of the guy. But as far as like legacy wise, I don't even, I like him a lot, but I don't know that he's in my top 10 of all-time Jaguar players as far as like performance and personality, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to give him the top 10, but I think top 20.
Well, I heard a lot of people talking about how just put him in the pride already, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
It's hard to, for both what he did performance on the field, but performance off the field is more what you'll, I think, remember him for, and the toughness that he did and the football IQ that he seemed to have. Especially what sticks out is when we did the 50, meet me at the 50, and Gruden was asking him questions, and Gruden was, I mean, when doesn't he slobber over somebody? But then the offense came out, and then he was like, oh, poo-poo the offense, you know. So he actually, you know, but immediately he's like, I would vote for you for president if you ran. And he's just that type of infectious, you want to follow him anywhere you go.
Yeah, I think he could have been in the military. Like, I think he has that almost type of mentality, and for anything that he may have lacked as far as those physical talents, which again, I mean, talk about someone who worked extremely hard in the locker room. And I just don't think that he was physically as gifted as someone like Miles Jack, who is just an absolute physical freak. But anything that he may have lacked there, I think he made up for in how much he studied. I do think that was one of the things that he put football first from the moment that he was drafted until he decided to hang up his cleats. And I think that kind of was, again, if you haven't read the letter, I highly recommend it. The things that he said to me about his wife, that was the most beautiful part about how she made sure that he was able to live his career as a football player, and she took care of everything else, and now he wants to kind of repay that to her, since she certainly sacrificed a lot, and there were times that she probably wanted him to retire a while ago with all the injuries and the stress that goes into it. And I am just so thankful that he didn't, when the Miles Jack draft happened, that he didn't decide, and when the Jaguars decided to move Miles Jack to middle linebacker, that he didn't decide to hang it up then, a year ago, because he wouldn't have gotten to experience that one truly amazing season of winning with these guys. And the other thing I'll never forget is the fact that he was there for Telvin Smith when Telvin was going through some of the hardest days of his life in losing his brother. And, you know, for anyone who's been in a situation where someone experiences a tragedy, it can be awkward to be there when you're not part of their family. And he was able to kind of break through those barriers and to be there for Telvin. And I thought that spoke volumes, not just to Telvin, but to everybody else in the locker room too.
Telvin had a really great little Instagram post about him today, which is sweet.
He did. And I think you know, all the different players who have posted about him, tweeted about him, that is them being 100% genuine. It's not like, oh, I should say something about Puz because everybody else is. I mean, I think they all have nothing but positive things to say, and there's not very many players where you can't give one knock against him. And I am almost glad, I thought of this morning when I heard, I'm almost glad that he had the one unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in his career, because at least, like, you got to see, like, that edginess out of him that one time. Like, I'm glad he didn't retire with 0 unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Do we know what he's going to do? Is he going to go into coaching?
We don't know. I think
for the Jaguars.
I think it's a little too fresh probably for that to have been decided maybe by him. I found it interesting that in all of this free agent news, the retirement came out. You'd think that it might have come out maybe last week when things were a little bit slower, but that
makes sense because he's not a limelight.
Oh, no, not
so
at
it's
all.
like, I'm just going to sneak this thing
right.
no one will
and hope
notice.
it goes unnoticed.
Yeah, not a chance of that going to go unnoticed. But yeah, I think coaching, I don't know about broadcasting, but I think he'd be very good at something like that, but I get the sense that he wouldn't necessarily want to travel for a living, and broadcasting can require that. So yeah, coaching would be fantastic, even if not with the Jaguars. If he wanted to start off high
College,
school,
I would
college,
say,
yeah, I think he'd be, like you said, tremendous.
Well, let's go to something that did not go unnoticed, and that would be rankings of the top 32 quarterbacks. How many teams do we have in the NFL?
32.
So you would think how many quarterbacks of those teams would be on the list of one quarterback per team? You would think.
Maybe 32 plus Nick Foles or something like that.
You would think. So Greg Rosenthal of NFL.com decided, I'm going to make a list. And he starts off, before the list begins, he says, below is a ranking of the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, regardless of team. Players like Blake Bortles, Colin Kaepernick, A.J. McCarron, and Mitchell Trubisky just missed the cut. So my question is, someone who made it to the AFC Championship game 2.5 minutes away from the Super Bowl, how is he not on the list? When someone who has only played in one game, that would be Patrick Mahomes, is on the list. And who is not dead last, by the way.
His list, I think, is incredibly ridiculous. It almost is like he is, I don't know, up all night and he had to throw something together at the last minute, and he literally just threw darts at the different quarterbacks' pictures. Because to me, Teddy Bridgewater should not be in the top 32. He's not a starting quarterback. I don't even know that Sam Bradford should really be in there with his injury history as well.
But he is.
The list is so laughable.
And so, yeah, it's
ridiculous.
just utterly silly. Obviously, Blake Bortles is not a top 10 quarterback or has not performed to that level yet. But he
he's
should
a top
absolutely
20.
be in the top 25.
Right.
At the very minimum, top 25.
I'm sorry,
And to
but
not have him
Patrick
on the list
Mahomes
is
should not be
dumb.
26 on the list.
No,
He's played in one game. I even had issue with Jimmy G being at 12th. I was stunned.
Which is, I think that's
very
a little high for a guy who's only played in
He's just
7
drinking that
career
Kool-Aid.
games.
I feel like guys like this, they try to make articles like this knowing that they're going to stir up. I've noticed with some sports broadcasters that they will try to go after a smaller market because they know, I guess, the inferiority complex of the smaller market, and they'll try to poke and prod in order to get the views up on their articles. So I wonder if this is his attempt, because I didn't notice that he put the Blake Bortles note at the top of the article.
top.
So to me, that makes it to where he's trying to anger those fans
Right.
of those quarterbacks before you even get to the list.
Yeah, he's not here. They just missed the cut. Colin Kaepernick hasn't played.
Yeah, the
Why
fact
would he
that
even
he's
be
in
on the
there,
list?
That, again,
Neither has A.J.
that to me
McCarron.
is
Dance puppets,
Come on.
that's what he's saying.
those kinds of things that make me think that the list he didn't spend much time on it. Let's say that.
It's so ridiculous. Something else that
But by the way, this is probably the first time that you've had Blake Bortles back, Donna. So
It is.
So I think that it's worth noting.
it was a fun conversation with my mom when I told her about this. She's like, I think you've been in Jacksonville too long. I'm like, Ma, come on. Even he would be on my list at 32. Come on. That's pretty bad. But something else that I did notice on Twitter and will surprise you, that I also have this guy's back, is Johnny Manziel.
You starting to like him?
No, but this was just out of nowhere, it seems. So Michael Rappaport, who, does he have any relation to Ian?
I don't
think
believe
No.
so.
He's a comedian.
He's a comedian.
And he's a Bostonian. He's a Boston fan. He's a big Red Sox fan and Celtics. And so I've seen his comedy and laughed at some of his stuff. But
some being the key word.
Some of his stuff. So Johnny Manziel posted a picture of him wearing a Barstool sweatshirt, or had Barstool caption, with Michael Rappaport's face on it, but he dressed like a clown. And he posted that. He didn't say anything. He just posted that, which is stupid. But anyways, so Michael Rappaport calls him names, a bath salt sniffer, all this stuff. Why don't you concentrate on going to your meetings and blah, blah, blah. So Manziel counters with, wow, make fun of AA. And, I'm trying not to be a beehole anymore, whatever you want to say. And he's like, maybe you should
beehole?
try. Yeah, well, I'm not trying to say the other one. So, and they go back and forth, and Rappaport just incessantly attacking him. And I actually felt bad. I'm like, it kind of came out of nowhere. You posted a photo of you wearing a shirt, but nowhere of anything does it say anything bad, and
Well-
so I felt bad for and it's an onslaught of the verbiage that Michael Rappaport used towards Manziel, and just whoa, dude, it was just
He's a little unhinged right now. There's something happened between him and Barstool Sports because they used to have a really great relationship, and then they started publicly feuding. And then, in response to the public feud, Barstool made this shirt that paints him as a clown. So it was the similar style shirt that they did for Roger Goodell too. So I think that Rappaport just took a lot of offense to it, and so now that he's done, or the Barstool fight sort of waned a little bit, now he's choosing to fight with other people.
So I feel bad for Manziel. Is that right? Should I feel?
I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for him because, just like Tom Coughlin said about the deal with Allen Robinson, it takes two to tango. That's exactly how I feel about Twitter feuds. It takes two to tango. Just because someone says something that you don't like or posts something that you don't like, you don't have to respond to it and then it goes away. But the moment that you respond to it, especially if you're someone famous like Johnny Manziel, then all of a sudden it becomes an overblown thing. I don't think Rappaport should say anything negative about the drug issues that Manziel has had, the addiction issues. I think that's off limits because it's something that he's trying to make, and he's been public about it. He's trying to make that right, and he's trying to go through treatment and rehab and all that fun stuff. But I also don't think Manziel should have even really acknowledged it once Rappaport was so upset about it. To me, Rappaport just looks silly for being that upset. Like,
Right.
First of all, dude, you should know not to get into a fight with Barstool Sports because they are an entity that is very caustic and sarcastic. And so you saw what happened with the whole Goodell thing. Like, you should know better than to go down that road.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, don't get in sort of Twitter battles like that. But if somebody like that with that kind of, I guess, a profile with a high following is going to call you back or call you out, sometimes you got to clap back. And I liked the way that Manziel handled it. I liked his response to it. And then he sort of just dropped it. And it seems like Rappaport is the one that's sort of just trying to hang on and
Right.
grasp onto everything that he can.
Right, because even I would try to piggyback off of Michael Rappaport because I do not like Manziel at all. But this point, now you just sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
Michael, now it's just sad and kind of need to stop. you
But
know?
I mean, Manziel started it technically by posting this picture
Right.
of the clown. Obviously, that's not a nice thing to do. It's not like Manziel thought, oh, well, Rappaport's going to be
Right.
so glad that I'm, posting a picture of
Yeah,
him
but-
looking like a clown.
you would have thought it would have been more anger towards Barstool again, but
Right.
he's like, no, I'm just going to go after this guy.
If I'm Rappaport, though, I buy one of the shirts and I wear it because then you're taking that power away from the brand. Now that
proud.
people know that it bothers you that much that you're going to become a little unhinged because of it, I think he just opened up a can of worms by doing it.
Wouldn't it be great to see Roger Goodell come out in the draft wearing his own clown shirt?
And see, Goodell, I think, has tough enough skin. I don't know, but I
He
assume
has to.
Yeah, has
Got
to
to
have
by
tough
now.
enough skin to be able to kind of laugh at that kind of stuff. And Rappaport should too, especially as a comedian. I mean, everyone, for the most part, who uses humor like that, especially through social media, at some point you're going to offend someone. So you should also expect that maybe you have to realize it's not as funny to that person that you're making fun of. So when someone turns around and makes fun of you, yeah, you know what? You just have to grin and bear it because that's what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, because he doesn't sound funny in these tweets. He sounds really butthurt.
Yeah, he does.
Absolutely.
Well, let's find out more coming up next in the next segment. What happens when you're asked if you're pregnant when you're really not, and how your reaction would be? Also, is cold pizza better than hot pizza? Coming up next, more with Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
This is Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
This is Leon Washington from Andrew Jackson.
I really felt bad. I'm like, dude, lay off him.
Yeah, I mean, he
Like
had
the
good
first one, I was like,
responses.
ouch. And then I was proud of Manziel. And then he came back, I was like, ouch, man. Stop.
You'll appreciate this. So my friend Megan, who lives right around the corner from the house, who really wanted us to get it, she goes, so not that it makes you feel better, but the next door neighbor to that house lights up their roof for every holiday.
Oh, yeah, nope. That's all right.
I mean,
Like, is it Chevy Chase lighting up a roof?
I assume that's what she's like, 'cause that's
saying.
different. Yeah. Brad and I put an offer in on a house that I had a feeling we weren't going to get, but my friend's trying to make me feel better by saying that the house next door gets super lit up for Christmas. So, like, at least we're not going to be next door to a house that gets super lit up for Christmas. That's pretty
I wonder if you have to interview your neighbors before you buy a house.
You know, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, I mean, it would be ideal, but the current existing sellers are not going to want that to happen if they don't like their neighbors. They're trying to get out.
I mean, how much does she even weigh, Laura?
I
she's
saw her
100
in
pounds?
person at that Tebow thing when I worked.
Is she like 100 pounds?
She's like my height, so she's probably 118, which is tiny.
Tiny. Yeah.
That's a made-up word for that.
Tiny. I like it. Look at her.
She's very thin.
Yes.
And so it must have been something she was wearing, because I saw her the next day in a black turtleneck and a pink skirt, and I'm like, there's no way anyone could look at that person and think they're even remotely overweight. She looks so thin. It's almost like she.
Maybe it's this dress.
I love though the chick that said something about her. I'm
Right?
like,
Maybe it's this dress.
Oh, was it? Did you look at the picture of the chick who
Yeah.
said something?
I'm like,
all I saw was Laura's response that said, or maybe it was Shannon Spake's response that said, no, I think it was Laura's that said, like, I'd love to see how perfect you look or something.
she had to have checked. Like, bitch, listen.
Yeah, this was funny. Yeah. That's just.
How perfect the inquiring minds are. So wait, are you pregnant or just getting fat? Inquiring minds want to know.
If there's any inquiring minds out there that want to know, I am pregnant. Yes.
AKA
But
Wendy.
coming with that also comes fat. So I am pregnant and getting fat. It's the same thing.
Well, you're supposed to get fat.
Yes.
Not,
And it's not fat.
You're
You
not
have
fat.
a baby
I mean, you're
growing
supposed to
inside
get-
of you.
No, a
you're
lot of
supposed
this
to gain
is fat.
weight. That's the
Yeah.
point.
Well, the funny thing is I really haven't gained any weight because I was toned before, so I had a lot of
Oh,
muscle.
yeah.
So my muscle has now all.
Are you able to still work out?
It depends. Like, I feel good with this one, mobile-wise. I feel like I can. I feel like I can be physical. With
This
JT,
is that I was talking about. There's not a chance anyone in
No.
America could look at that person and say
See, if you looked
anything
at
about fat.
she had a red dress. This one right here, I could see that because it makes her look a little wide. But it's the way that I think the dress and how she's standing. It doesn't make her look that thin. That's the only one I could see.
But she still doesn't look fat.
No,
at
she
all.
doesn't. She doesn't. But I'm just saying she looks so different from her other photos. I'm just trying to rationalize what this lady.
Just getting fat, Wendy. I'd love to see how perfect the inquiring minds are.
And I love how she put it in quotes. She's like, I know you. It's just you, bitch.
Right?
You don't have no friends.
Correct.
Rendy for real?
Wait, see, there's no picture of Wendy that I could find. She just has a T-shirt as her avatar.
Oh, yeah,
If you click on the tweet, and then
Yeah, this one.
see, that's why I say don't trust people
This-
that don't
I
have
know.
their real photos. You
I
started
know.
noticing.
I did notice.
You
Because
heard that.
Beef sent me one. It was some because I asked Beef about it since he's big on Twitter, and he sent me some guy that put like a racist rant or something, and he sent it to me, and he goes, "See, look at the profile," and it was a dog. And I was like, "Oh, Blythe's right. Oh no."
You can't trust him. The eggs and the dog, Abby. I did have one of the guys that was listening to our show that night. He sent a photo of himself holding a dog and an egg.
That's funny.
He's like the trifecta.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
Maybe it was.
You
when
did
she
get a
was
lot of
wearing
dog
this.
photos.
Oh
You know,
fuck
I
yes!
kept seeing them.
I
was like,
really
"Woo."
wanted Tyler to be here tonight because I said I was going to tell him you ruined my life.
JJ, do you have a dog?
I do, but when I moved here, I had to leave him back.
Aw.
That sucks.
Did he sleep in your
It's really
bed?
big, and my apartment was not having pit bulls. So
Did he sleep in your
protect
bed?
My mom now. Hell no.
Well, then he would have been on your side.
No, my mom lets him sleep with him, but I.
See, I think it's gross.
It is. It's disgusting.
Thank
15
you.
seconds.
You know, I have random people on my posts now. It has nothing to do with helmets and heels or nothing. And they're like, dogs in the bed rule.
He has his own chair, and like, you know, that's his thing.
I'm like,
See, you missed it.
shut
last
up!
week.
Where quality counts on 1010XL.
Oh, am I doing this? No, I'm not. Okay.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
What a fun Tuesday night. We've got a little NIT basketball going on as Blythe's team is down by 3 to Northern Kentucky. That would be Louisville in the first round of the NIT. Blythe's not happy.
No.
Obviously, Louisville did not make
It's
the
ridiculous.
NCAA tournament. But
Conspiracy, too.
I'm happy. I got 3 teams. And
I
never root
good
for
for
anybody.
you.
But
I'm
we
happy.
are going to talk about March
Excited.
Madness later in the show. It's been a crazy day of free agency. I saw this tweet on Friday and I laughed out loud in the studio, and I knew that we absolutely had to talk about it. So last year at SEC Media Days, for a special edition of Helmets and Heels live from SEC Media Days, one of the women that I had on was Laura Rutledge, who works for ESPN. She's done a tremendous job on SEC Nation. She's recently started hosting SportsCenter, and she's done a ton of sideline reporting. Well, a chick named Wendy must have seen her in a sweater that was a little blousey and a little loose sweater, and it looked great with her pencil skirt, which showed how thin she is. However, Wendy decided she needed to tweet Laura Rutledge and say the following, or ask the following: "Are you pregnant or just getting fat? Inquiring minds want to know." Laura's response was fantastic. "Just getting fat, Wendy. I'd love to see how perfect the quote-unquote inquiring minds are."
That's fantastic.
Which is, to me, one of the most rude things you could ever
Yes.
say, not just as someone in general, but especially someone who, if you ever have seen Laura Rutledge, is the opposite of fat. But I couldn't wait for especially Donna, who has been pregnant in the past, and may currently be, to respond when people say things to you that they clearly should not say.
Well, the one, when I was pregnant with JT, and we were in our old station across the street, and the one, and I love him to death, who has been around for quite a while. I was probably 6, maybe 7 months pregnant, so clear as day, the belly was huge. And he comes up, he's like, "Hey, psst, are you pregnant?" Like, yeah.
No,
Pretty
you
sure
idiot.
everyone thought I was. Kind of been news. He's like, "Oh, good. I thought you were just getting fat."
Oh my goodness.
And I just laughed it off because I'm like, "Oh, you," because that's
Bless your heart.
who he is. But you know, I don't know. My hormones were
happy,
happy.
right?
Huh?
He's probably joking.
No. Oh no, that was not
Start
a
with
joke.
A J.
Huh?
Start with a J.
No.
Okay.
No, that was not a joke. That was a serious question. So, yeah. it
But I
happens.
mean, if we all go through phases where we gain weight or lose weight, and we go through phases where we care a lot about what we wear, and other days where, you know, you may be running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you didn't necessarily have time to get to wear exactly what you want. And no man should ever ask a woman, or another woman apparently, Wendy sounds like a chick, if they're pregnant or just getting fat. The only reason I think you should ever even ask someone if they're pregnant is if they at any point kind of say to you, "I'm trying to get pregnant."
Yeah,
That's
never
the only
assume.
way, right, that you might say, "Okay, so are you pregnant?" And other than that, absolutely never say, "or just getting fat." That is so rude, especially like Laura's saying, like, are you perfect? I mean, none of us are perfect, right? So why would you ever make a woman feel
I mean,
like
and Laura is so small.
Right.
You Google her, she is a peanut.
Yeah.
So
She's maybe $1.10 soaking wet.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
just-
ever ask that to a woman.
The-
And even if you think she might be pregnant and you're excited for her, still, if she's not, you are going to ruin her day,
Yeah.
ruin her week, ruin her month.
Like, I've seen it on, I watch General Hospital every day, okay? And one of the characters is so-called pregnant on the show, but she's not. And people on her Instagram have been hounding her. "Are you really pregnant?" She's like, "No, stop asking me." But it's costume. They make her look it. So that I kind of understand, because
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
"Oh, are you
different.
right?" But I'm like, this is just
I love the way she handled it, though, because
Yeah.
self-deprecating humor to me is the best. And then when she retweets it, she doesn't have to do the dirty work. She lets her followers do the dirty work for her.
And they're
Because if you check
fantastic.
the replies,
I
they
did
found
not.
pictures of Wendy, and Wendy needs to stop talking.
Oh, wow.
I think Todd was-
360 61 replies.
I think Todd was the best. I like him. Wendy, for real, they don't let you out of the trailer park much, do they?
Ooh.
I was like, oh, I enjoy you, Todd.
And see, like, you never would have been criticized like that or had someone say something that harsh to you if you didn't start by something so rude. I just can't imagine tweeting that to a chick.
I think it could be possible that she was so rude and then got all of this attention. So this maybe has happened to her in the past. Maybe this is the only way that Wendy can get attention.
Maybe. I don't know, with her 4 followers, I did notice that. I'm like, you got 4 followers.
Log off.
You know?
My
And
dad-
I don't do anything with Twitter, and I noticed that. I'm like, come on now. I noticed.
My dad had knee surgery like right after I was born. So he was super excited. They have a baby, healthy baby. And so he's, I guess, like right after surgery, he's got his knee and his whole leg in these straps and all this stuff, and his legs up in the air, and he can't move, blah, blah, blah. Well, a nurse comes in, and again, he's so excited about having a baby. So he looks at the nurse, and he thinks she's pregnant, so he's like, are you pregnant? And she was not, and he said, she,
I'm heavily
I guess,
medicated.
like, ripped the like straps, and he was in so much pain. He's like, never again. Even if the chick was 9 months pregnant, and you could tell, he was like, never again. And so the other thing I wanted to ask you, Donna, since you have been in this position before, what's the weirdest thing someone's done to you while you're pregnant? Like random strangers in the grocery store asking to rub your belly?
No, I've never got can I rub? I never got that.
That's so weird to me.
But I think the staring at your baby. Stop staring. You know, it's right now. It's just a belly. You're literally staring at my stomach. Stop it.
Who stares more, women or men?
They both do.
Huh.
Because they'll stare at you and they're like, "How you feeling?" Like, well, can you look at my face and I'll tell you? Like, stop. I don't
want to talk
I
about
would
it.
rather, when I'm not pregnant, I would rather you stare at my boobs. This is so uncomfortable that you're staring at my prego
Well, and
belly.
especially when you're far along, you know, there's that baby's growing in the same area where all your organs are. And so it certainly can get to the point where it's uncomfortable. Did people ask you the name of the baby?
Well, I don't know the sex yet, so.
No, but when you were pregnant with JT, did anyone ask about the name?
Yeah. And there's another thing. Don't comment on what I tell you with the
That's
name.
what I was going to say.
Don't make a comment about it. All you have to say, if you want to find out, that's great. And you'll be like, oh, that's so nice. That's all you need to say. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Don't give me any other comments.
I just couldn't fathom being out in public and asking someone about their pregnancy. Staring at them, asking what a baby name is good. I just couldn't. I can't fathom that.
Well, but not so much the name, I feel like, is more people you know.
Yeah.
But then the problem is they might not like it, and then it's very obvious. That's the problem. That's why I think so many people nowadays keep it quiet until the baby's born, and then there's no going back.
Yeah, there's always when you're at the end, oh, are you, and then they go into depth. Are you going to breastfeed? Are you going to do this? And be like, I'm not talking politics with you. Not because you're not going to like my answer.
I do remember being
Next.
younger and asking, because my mom ran an at-home daycare, and I made the mistake a few times of saying, well, what are you going to call it? And they would get offended every time. It's not an it. It's a boy or a girl. Like, Jesus.
Some people don't know.
No.
They don't find out the sex of the baby, so I feel like they, yes, baby may be different than it, but still, like, I feel like then it's easier to be like, oh, we don't know. But certainly, if you mistake, also, if you, like, once the baby's there, if you mistake the sex of the baby, a lot of times that can cause issues. Like, oh, your little boy is so cute. This is a girl. She
Or
is a girl.
if
Put a
it's an
Beretta on
ugly
her.
baby.
Oh, well,
If it's an ugly baby,
And let me tell you, all babies are ugly. My adorable 5-year-old is so cute now, but yeah, no, they're all ugly. They're all shriveled up little aliens.
See,
Well, they are.
I think some babies, even as newborns, are cuter than others.
yeah, definitely. Because I've seen some recently, and I'm like, oh,
I'll give you a couple
that
hours
kid is going to be
after.
in for a rough childhood.
When they're
Yes,
cleaned, and
but like
they got the bonnet, they got the head wrap, and they're
some babies need to
snuggled,
kind of grow into themselves to be cute.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel bad, especially if like there's an older
Some of them
sibling.
never get cute. They never grow.
No, they don't. You
You'll
are right.
grow into it.
Even as adults.
You're
But you know
right.
how like there may be like the older sibling who's not that cute, and then the younger sibling's
Yeah.
like, adorable, and you feel so bad
Oh.
because I mean the parents obviously have to take pictures of both kids.
Like I find my husband incredibly sexy, but boy, both JT and this one, I hope they do not come out looking with that head shape that he had. Because that is just awkward of an hourglass looking thing.
All right, sticking on the babies, Gary Smits, who covers golf for the Times-Union, tweeted out this morning that Sergio Garcia conducted his pre-Masters teleconference an hour and a half after his wife Angela's water broke. He talked from the hospital waiting room. That's what we call media-friendly. Donna, is that what you call media-friendly?
Well, my first response to you about this was that's what I call a horrible husband. But then maybe they're in agreement that they don't want him in the room.
Well, but if he's right outside...
Well, if he's in the waiting room, that's not right outside.
True.
You know, so maybe she's like, look, I don't want you near, because with TJ and I said, you don't look at any of it, okay? You stand by my head and you hold my hand, because I'm not having my husband being ruined.
Traumatized.
Like, yeah. You know,
That's
so
a good point.
you don't want anybody you love seeing any part of that.
Well, and I wondered, an hour and a half after the water breaking, I wondered how far along she was.
And maybe she's having a C-section. We don't know, you know, but
Yeah, she could have been in labor for like 3 days.
Yeah,
90 minutes.
My only thinking is maybe, otherwise it's really bad. I don't think I would ever be okay with that. Yeah, sure, honey, go ahead. I'm just going to lay here and be drugged up and
She's
not do
probably
anything.
used to it, I would think. Media
What's her
interviews.
first one?
Well, as far as choosing something else besides her, I think, because golf is, if she's a wife of a golfer, or, you know, wives of athletes, you're used to playing second fiddle to their sport.
Well, and I mean, if he's within earshot, you know, if somebody's going to come get him if something changes, then I think he's able to talk on the phone and not mess anything up. But I just can't imagine, like, thinking clearly while I'm imagining, you know, what my wife is going through.
Did she already give birth and then he gave the interview? Or
No,
she was
water
just
broke an hour and a half before he was on the phone.
I think I hate Sergio Garcia with a passion, but I'm all right with this.
I like Serge. All right, Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo tweeted out that cold pizza is better than pizza, or is better pizza. # am I right? I feel like he's the only person in the entire world who thinks this way.
Like, is he getting a pizza and then waiting for it to get cold? Because I
don't think
I used to date somebody who would get a candy bar and put it in the freezer and would wait to eat it until it was frozen, and I thought that was maniacal.
It's much better that way.
No, you're wrong.
Like Snickers, I think, are better that way.
Wrong.
Snickers.
But that's completely different to me than waiting for your pizza to get cold and then eat it. I think he was saying, like, next morning pizza right out of the fridge is better even than hot pizza.
No,
I think it depends on the company. If it's your generic franchises, I would completely agree with him.
Interesting.
Completely agree. I will take the Pizza Hut cold pizza in the morning any day. But if it is local, like Tommy's Pizza across the street, or
then you know,
Rena's, I want hot, because it's their fresh ingredients. It's that New York style. You can't do that cold. That's just, I think it gets a little too greasy and you miss the freshness. So the other ones, it's so franchised, it doesn't matter. It tastes better cold to me.
I love pizza as far as the cheese. And so to me, the cold pizza is not as good because I don't get the cheese melting and, like, when you get to pull apart the cheese and it's like hanging off your chin. That's why I love pizza. So cold pizza to me is not good. Are you starving?
Yeah, well, I'm on a very strict diet this week, and I really want some pizza. Bad.
You can get, like, the lean cuisine pizza, right?
Well, no, I have bought, which I will sing to the high heavens about this pizza, but chicken crust pizza, which I didn't know that they make. It's super low carb.
Chicken crust.
Chicken crust pizza. It has like 24 grams of protein, 3 grams of carbs.
Like, it's the whole entire crust.
It's like it's a mini pizza, like a personal pan-sized pizza, and the bottom of the crust is made out of chicken, and then it's normal toppings on top, and it has a tremendous protein level.
Isn't that just chicken parm?
No, because it honestly
Without the
tastes
pasta?
It's not fried chicken.
No, it's called a real good pizza, and they make it with the idea for pizza lovers in order to be able to still enjoy what you like. And I love pizza, so this is that. I bought about 10 of those, knowing that I had to go on this diet, and I've been eating them every day, and they're delicious. But
why are you on the diet? Any particular reason?
I have a photo shoot this weekend,
okay.
so I have to be super skinny for. Unfortunately. So Donna's paused over here, this pizza talk.
Well,
I just
next
gotta
we'll
be
get
strong.
to
I'm pregnant.
Bumble
Don't hate
and
me.
sports media and all female shows. So we'll
Stuff
get
that I can complain about.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll get back to stuff that will make you feel better. Listen to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL.
Start your mornings with a drill.
I'm telling you though, those chicken crust pizzas are the truth. Add a little extra spices on it,
Never
a little
heard of
extra
that.
cheese. I think they just came out. Amazon was selling them for like ridiculous pricing, and then I found out that Walmart started carrying them. I think they're the only retailer in Jacksonville that carries them. But it's something I'm definitely going to stick with after this diet's over, or after the shoot is over on Saturday, then I'm headed straight to Disney to stuff my face with every kind of food imaginable. But then when I get back, I'm like, oh, this will be a good way to stay on track and still be able to enjoy like the chain pizzas. But if I get that craving, then I can just have those as the go-to.
Nice. I don't see what Tom wrote. I don't see
How's it going? Can I try one of those new fast
what
food games?
Tom wrote.
Mom, it's hard to talk to you when you call it in the middle of a segment.
But I saw your mom.
Did you forget? Yeah, my mom.
I saw.
Did you forget?
Let's see.
Logan.
I haven't checked the comments. Yeah. Welcome in, YouTube. We are live here every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and mash that subscribe button. That way you get a little notification anytime we go live. We do some other videos throughout the week, so you might not want to miss those. And when I say might not, I mean definitely not want to miss those. I'm just sort of trying to be humble, but I probably should.
Nah, who cares?
I don't even know if y'all can hear me. Okay, good. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Bumble, dating apps, NBA jersey advertisements. What else? Rich Eisen went on a little bit of a media sports rant, so we're going to talk about that. March Madness. Side note, nobody cares about your freaking bracket, so just much like fantasy football.
That's why I coin flip my bracket.
Yeah. And
Literally,
you do pretty well with it, right?
This year I will not.
No?
No.
Oh, because
And-
your teams. Okay.
No, because on my bracket, I went ahead and I wrote that the number ones move on for the first. And then T-Wig's like, that's not your true coin flip. I was like, fine. So I whited out. Failed miserably. I would have had Villanova and who's the other one seed?
There's 3 other ones.
Right, I had Virginia
Kansas.
moving.
Virginia.
Kansas, UNC's number 1 seed.
Might have been Kansas. There were 2 that are on
Kansas
the right
is
side.
bottom right,
Yeah,
bottom left.
that's who it was.
UNC is it? It's not yours.
I don't think I'm going to do one this year.
So I would have had Villanova and Kansas playing in the Final Four. But no, I have the 2 16s. I'm like, that's what the coin chose. So I'm
What?
like,
I thought you weren't doing a coin.
Xavier. There we
I'm
go.
doing both. I'm doing a
Oh.
coin, and then I'm going to have JT pick.
Thanks.
So either way, I'm gifting somebody our lovely non-cash that we do. I'm like, that's fine. Maybe JT will have more luck.
Another thing I noticed is my
Unnecessary.
energy level is so low.
Oh, yeah. Well, you drink coffee, don't you?
Yeah.
Or have you not been doing that?
Oh no,
Yeah.
coffee for sure, but no sugar in my coffee.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow is when I start drinking distilled water, and then starting on starting Thursday is my last day to work out. And I can only work out with lower weights and higher reps because they don't want your muscles swollen, because if your muscles are swollen, then you'll retain water. And then on the actual shoot day, I'm only allowed to sip on water as I'm thirsty or if I begin to sweat, because then your muscles have like more tone.
Gosh.
That's crazy.
So it's a super strict, but it's really only super strict this week. Like the rest of the time,
Why distilled water? I've never heard that before.
it helps with like flushing your. It's like a, what do they call? Not flushing your body, but what do they call it? Whatever flushing is, not antioxidant. What do they call it? Detoxifying,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So
your body, yeah.
Distill, and
toxicity.
I think so. It just they tell you to eat all kinds of green veggies, asparagus mostly, because it acts like, I gotta Google this word now.
Aw, that is sweet. I found it.
Let's see, no.
Boy, do I hope.
Oh, it's free of minerals, including sodium, so it helps prevent fluid retention.
I hope someone gets Jordy Nelson.
So yeah, I start that tomorrow.
He's 32. You want him? I guess you guys like older guys.
They like his type.
Yeah.
If we're losing Amendola, you might as well.
True. Who are you getting?
No, I just said I would wish that the Patriots would get Jordy Nelson.
Oh.
It
15 seconds.
likely won't happen. Likely will not happen. But
Flagship station of the
Never know.
Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Jaguars beat writer Hayes Carline takes you inside your home team's locker room so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know. Check out his blog at 1010XL.com. His blog is brought to you by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. My name is Blythe Brumley, and I'm joined alongside Donna Murphy and Lauren Brooks. And advertising is not new to sports, but there is one new aspect of advertising that the NBA has started up this year, and that includes advertising on jerseys. One company that is going to start advertising with the Clippers is the dating app Bumble. Are you ladies familiar with Bumble?
no. No
I've
idea.
heard of it, and I know people who use it, but I've never seen it. Is it like Tinder?
It's kind of like Tinder, but the woman who started it, Whitney Wolf, I think is her name. Yeah, Whitney Wolf Heard, that's her full name. She started it after she worked at Tinder. She didn't like the environment, I guess the way that the women were being treated, both at the company and on the app. So she started up Bumble with the idea that the woman has to reach out first. So if you anonymously like each other's photo and interests and all that good stuff, then the person shows up in your feed, and you have 24 hours to initiate conversation with a male as a woman. So the guy can't reach out to you at all, but as a woman you can reach out to them. So she aims to create a really safe sort of a dating environment, sort of, where women feel empowered to make the first move and all that good stuff.
I've never imagined people actually working at Tinder or Bumble. Obviously they have to have people that work there to exist, but I guess I just always assumed it was like somebody who created an app and then kind of let the programmers run it and walked away. There's actually people that work there?
Yeah, well, I listened to a podcast where she was talking about it, as Founders Podcast, and she was talking about how she started her business and all that. And this little side note, but she said that when she did the same strategies at Bumble that she did at Tinder, where they would go to college campuses and leave flyers and leave them everywhere all over campus and try to get the sororities to join. Because if the sororities join the app, then the guys will follow. So they did that approach with Tinder, and it grew like wildfire. And then
Which is funny to me because I feel like the sorority girls know where to look for the guys in college, and the guys know where to look for the sorority girls in college. Like, they live in houses. It's not that hard.
Well, I think
I get. Like,
Don't you have mixers? And
Yes,
they do, but a dating app does. I guess. I don't know. It gets rid of some of those boundaries at first. It's like a digital bar to me with apps like that. So it just
removes that initial awkward conversation of like, hi, I'm so and so. I'm so and so.
Right. Can I buy you a drink? Or, that
Sure.
mindless small talk that happens at bars all over, but instead it happens on an app. Well, Bumble just inked a deal to align with the Clippers in order to put their logo on their jerseys. It's a $20 million deal over 3 years. And she did this in part because the Clippers have the largest female leadership team in the NBA and a growing fan base of where 47% of the NBA fan base is geared towards women. But if you're advertising, is that a good place to start as far as advertising is concerned on an NBA jersey?
I don't think so. I don't think NHL, NBA, NFL, I don't think any of that would work with advertising. NASCAR works tremendously. Golf works tremendously. I don't, if you wanted to do something, and I know the LPGA isn't that recognizable, but why not do it with LPGA? I mean, that's all they wear. They wear their Titleist or Callaway or Ping, whatever it is. So why not do something with that? But this, what? No. It doesn't help me at all.
See, I think if it's done the right way as far as the aesthetics of the jersey, then it could work. Where I don't think jersey advertising is going to be of any use is if it's covered in stuff, like NASCAR cars are kind of covered in stuff. But NASCAR drivers are so well known for their branding and their loyalty to those brands and all that stuff. These guys are not necessarily known that they're picking the brands that they're supporting. So I think you have to have only kind of one company advertised on the jersey in order for people to really focus on that. But at least speaking from my perspective, I don't think ever watching the NBA and seeing Bumble on a jersey would make me go, oh, let me check that out. I think having a need for that app would trump it being on the jersey and that pushing.
How big is the advertisement going to be? Because their jersey is their number front and back, and then their name on the back and the team on the front. I don't understand.
I did see a picture of the jersey, and it's the same color as the Clippers blue. So I do like that aspect because that sort of turns me off about NASCAR is that they have all these advertisements splashed all over their cars, and there's not kind of like a unity. Like they're not all one color, which I would like from a design perspective. I would like that much better on a NASCAR because it all just sort of looks like a big mess, and I don't really pay attention to one logo. With this, I do think it's kind of smart on Bumble's behalf because it's brand awareness, and I don't know how they can attribute making money and how they can attach advertising on an NBA jersey to ROI, but I do like that the approach that Whitney, the company founder, is taking with this. And she said that the Clippers have the largest female executive team in the league. The NBA is the only league out of all the major sports leagues to receive a B grading as far as like a gender diversity is concerned. MLB and the NFL both received a C in that regard. And so
I'm surprised it's not F.
I did think that. I was like, wow, a C. I didn't think that the NFL deserved
probably
a
used
C.
to be an F, but as of late with more of the hirings,
right? But I do I kind of like this move as far as Bumble is concerned, and I think I like it because I heard Whitney's sort of backstory and how she started up her own company in spite of the sort of harassment that she was facing at Tinder.
But I mean, because we're talking about this now is how I know about it. If I sat there and watched if the Celtics played the Clippers, I wouldn't notice one damn thing.
Right.
Especially because it's the same blue, so it's just going to go ahead and camouflage itself in the jersey. So I wouldn't even notice. I would know nothing. Now, if they put signage up, if they maybe all their seats were the logos, or then something that will stick out. But otherwise, I would be clueless about this whole thing.
Well, I do think if people are hesitant to try Bumble because they've heard negative things about Tinder, or they're just not sure that they are ready for an app, a dating app, this could, I think, potentially help solidify that it is a very, I guess, lucrative company, or at least it's a company that has enough money to spend on advertising to make people feel more comfortable putting their information on there, that it's not a fly-by-night company.
Because, I mean, if I had the revenue in order to pay for a sponsorship deal like this, to have my logo and have an NBA player wear that jersey with my logo on it, I think it would be a huge pride factor. But I don't know how you can attach the ROI to something like this if you're Bumble. But
you can't. It's all about brand awareness, and they're trying, I think, too, to come off of or play off of the soccer leagues. All of those guys are wearing jersey advertisements, and they have obviously the advertising on those digital boards all surrounding the field. And they must have decided a long time ago that works for professional soccer. I, who casually watch when Brian's watching, cannot tell you one company that advertises on the jerseys or on those digital boards. My brain does not go to those whatsoever.
They've inked, the NBA has started inking different sponsorship deals all across the league, and they value anywhere from $5 to $20 million. So the fact that this one is $20 million over 3 years, I think is pretty cool, especially for a woman who founded this business. But going from something that's pretty cool to something that's I think it's a little bit questionable. But Rich Eisen, he is a NFL longtime reporter on the NFL Network, or broadcaster on the NFL Network, and he went into this sort of a tirade last week when he was talking about different sports media media personalities and how they say things in order to get retweeted rather than for authenticity's sake. And it's sort of a stark reminder of where media is as a whole and sports media in general of where the market is now and where it's going. And I think that things have changed so drastically in the past year and a half that more people like Rich speaking out on stuff like this is really important. But I wasn't sure if you ladies had a chance to go through any of his tweets and to see what he said, because I think it was really enlightening for somebody like that to say that.
Well, I went through it and I had to go through it, and it took me about 10 minutes because I'm so damn confused at what he's so angry about. Honestly, I'm gonna read you the first part. When will people on this platform understand that certain individuals in the sports business don't care if they're right or wrong? They just care if they're heard. And when you retweet their so-called take or to strike back or express your outrage, you're doing exactly what they want? ? I don't understand. That is the longest sentence, and I don't understand how it's a question at the end. So I had to break it up and try to, and then read all else he's.
It's definitely a run-on sentence.
I don't understand what he's so angry about. Can you give me, why is he saying this? That's what I want to know.
What I think he's getting at with this is that with a lot of fans, they follow, the Skip Baylesses of the world, Stephen A. Smiths, and they say these ridiculous things, and they don't actually think these ridiculous things. They say it for the reaction. And what Rich is, I think, hinting at is that guys like him and other guys in sports media and in media in general are trying like hell to do a reputable job and to have some sort of dignity and some sort of decorum when it comes to reporting on sports. And then you have guys that are hot take city, and they get more reaction and more growth, and they make more money. And so it's tough sitting, I think, in Rich's spot where he sees the easy out that he could take in order to rile up a bunch of people, and he chooses not to do that, but it still annoys him. I think that's a long way of saying that.
Well, I think I get his point as far as when you retweet something, you're obviously helping that person expose the original tweet. And if you quote tweet something, then you're still exposing the original tweet, even if you're saying you completely disagree with it. So I get that aspect of it. But I think most people, hopefully, are selective enough with the people that they follow that they, maybe, I hope, that they know, that's exactly what that verified blue check is, and then you get to make up your mind whether or not you want to help that person, and if you completely disagree with them over and over again, or if you find that they're putting out false information, you shouldn't follow them, and to me it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I hate the way that it seems like some people feel like they're a better person because they have more followers than somebody else. Like, sure, I understand that in the Kim Kardashian world, then, you are making money potentially off of those followers. But if you are a truly respected professional, it shouldn't matter how many followers you have. It should matter that you are putting out accurate information and you're getting your sources verified and all that fun stuff.
Well, in the perfect world, that would all matter incredibly more. But he is kind of right that a lot of these guys, they have a tremendous amount of following, and they're not being, there's no way to police it, but they're not being responsible with the information that they put out there. They're putting it out there for a reaction, not necessarily because they actually think it. And I think that's more of what he's referring to. Like, if you have a bad opinion or an opinion that not a lot of people agree with, that's one thing. But if you're having those over and over and over again for the sake of reaction, I think that that's more what he was referring to.
Well, I think there is a way to police it. It's the entities that these people work for, saying if you're not putting out accurate information, you can't work here anymore. Mm-hmm. And, we just saw this with the whole college basketball thing, and Mark Schlabach put out the information that Arizona's head coach was caught on tape by an FBI investigation saying that he was going to pay a player $100,000 to come play for Arizona. And it wasn't caught on tape, and that was a completely inaccurate report. And the fallout, I'm sure, will happen between ESPN and Mark Schlabach, but there needs to be some sort of action taken by ESPN saying we can't have people who aren't getting everything verified work for us just so that we get it out there before everyone else. That's part of the problem.
Well, I think that's a great example, because guys like Chris Mortensen, who leaked, or not leaked, but he reported on, Deflategate, with all of the news surrounding that, and he was essentially used as a puppet by some of the NFL attorneys. And so I think it goes both ways. I think it's just especially for like beat reporters, there's such a fine line of wanting to be first and wanting to be right. And a lot of times what you'll find is that they want to be first, and so they're so anxious to just get the story out there. What was the Tom Brady story just a few weeks
His
ago?
hand.
Yeah, his was it stitches on his hand
Yeah.
or something that was a false report. And,
Which,
and
if you watched the final episode, you see the nastiness of the cut and you see all the stitches. So it was real, and it was a big cut. Gross.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it is a fine line of wanting to be first and wanting to be right, but I feel like in Twitter nowadays, it shouldn't matter if you're first because everybody just tweets out exactly what somebody else just tweeted 5 seconds before, and then it gets lost into who's first. It should matter that it's right, and I think hopefully we'll get back to a point with that, but I
don't
mean,
know. George Carlin, he famously said the average person is dumb, and then a majority of people after that are infinitely more dumb.
NHL had
Carlin's
an
funny.
all-female hosted show, and we'll get into some March Madness. That's all coming up next. Listen to Helmets and Heels built by Dream Fenders Homes on 1010XL.
The Jacksonville
George Carlin.
Gosh,
I think you said the majority of people are fucking stupid, but I didn't want to say that on. Obviously, I can't.
I think one of the funniest things I ever saw was Robin Williams at a stand-up discussing golf.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's
Man.
like historically great.
That's fantastic.
We're gonna hit the fucking ball.
No, we're gonna put a flag out there for home. That thing is awesome.
That's an all-time great.
So good. And I know what a creep Bill Cosby is, but still, his birth. Have you ever heard his birth one?
No, I did hear. What is the one that is when he's making breakfast for his kids or something? That was a really good one.
The cake. We like chocolate cake. Dad is great. Give us chocolate cake. It's got eggs and milk. Which really talks about his wife's giving birth. And
Was it in the same stand-up?
yes.
Oh, dang.
And it's so funny. It's what I had playing before any of this news came out, obviously. It's what I had playing the whole time when I was giving birth. Because I'm like, this is so funny. And I would try to tell the doctor the same stuff. I'm like, just get the salad spoons, man. Get them out.
You don't watch? Do you not watch Bill Cosby anymore?
It's
Cousin?
hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch anything with Kevin Spacey now. I can't. And I can't
Really?
believe that anything's on TV that has him. Yeah. I'm like,
What
oh,
did he do? Was it? I don't want to downplay it, but wasn't it just allegations? Or
No. Like,
wait, didn't he like rape a little boy or something?
like all young boys. Well,
Damn.
I can't say. Well, they are young because they're teenage, but
yeah, that's young.
yeah, it's creepy.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, he got fired from a show. He's not working anywhere. You know.
Damn.
Uh huh.
Because I can still relatively separate performance as far as movies, music,
That one-
sports are concerned.
I
from,
usually can. That one's hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't with Kevin Spacey because they talk about how it's lasted for years and on all these different sets. I'm like,
How did
don't
nobody
wanna-
know this shit?
I don't know. And I love The Usual Suspects. That was a great movie. I'm like, nope.
Damn.
Horrible Bosses was funny.
I never got into the Netflix show.
Neither did I.
It was too boring.
I'm not a Netflix person.
I love Netflix. That's a daily thing for me.
I'm not a streamer kind of
So
girl.
I didn't know he was on House of Cards.
That's what. Yeah, House of Cards.
Season is here, and seeing those green yards and fields is the encouragement. On the equipment and tractor, your Kubota dealer. We are the only Kubota superstore.
I was so happy I fell asleep the other night to Newsies. Y'all ever seen Newsies?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of it, but if it's only if it's old. Is it old?
Yeah.
Okay.
My poor dad, when it was when Beauty and the Beast came out,
Oh.
we went as a family to go see it, and we didn't. It was during the day, and we didn't know it was a double feature. So we sit down, and all of a sudden Newsies starts. We're like, what is this? Like, it's a double feature. So I got to see that. So poor dad had to sit through
Oh,
Newsies
hell.
and Beauty and the Beast.
I'd be like, I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah.
You only get one.
But he liked Newsies. It was very good.
Is it a
But just two movies in a row?
Yeah, Christian Bale's first movie, and he sings in it.
Gotcha.
Was it the cartoon version of Beauty and the Beast or the
Yeah,
movie
the
version?
original.
Ooh.
Yeah, come on now, the
I
original.
already set my fast pass schedule to meet Belle at Disney. She's my favorite Disney princess.
I was thinking about that the other day. Favorite.
Favorite Disney princess?
Mm-hmm.
Who's yours?
I think I'd have to go with Ariel.
I do love her. She's top 3.
Just because I love the water.
Her, Jasmine, Ariel, top 3. I do like Tiana too because she was an entrepreneur.
I don't think I've ever sat through The Princess and the Frog.
It's really good.
Yeah.
As far as like
I've
the,
seen parts of it,
I
but-
like it better than Frozen.
Yeah.
And I like it better than, what is that other one with the hair?
Moana?
Yeah. No, not Moana, but I do.
Oh,
I do.
Tangled?
Yeah. I'd liked it better than all those. Because it's funny, it has a cute little characters, it's in that old classic animation style, which I like. But I like that she was an entrepreneur.
I tried watching the original Snow White the other day. I'm like, ooh, this actually kind of hurts my eyes to watch this. I'm like, ow. Like, no wonder all our eyes went bad back in the day. Like, none of our kids' eyes should ever go bad now because everything is 4K.
I tried to watch Sleeping Beauty not too long ago, and I'm like, I can't watch this.
Did you see
Maleficent?
Yes.
Yeah. I liked it.
Good, right?
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
I like the Disney villain take.
I was very
They have
surprised.
more of them now walking around through the parks.
Yeah, she was great.
So there was I saw a
Am I
picture-
bringing this back? Yeah.
I was gonna ask you.
I mean, we can do March Madness first, and then if you want to take the other story.
We can put the NHL in the next one. So
Okay.
yeah, we can do it then.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. Happy March Madness. It has begun. Everyone's trying to fill out their brackets or, being maybe, I don't know if anybody's out there like me that actually just says, screw it, I'm coin flipping every pick.
I don't think people do that for the whole thing. I think if they get to a tricky, say 8 versus 9
Right.
matchup, they might flip the coin. But I think most people have ways that they go about it. Some people obviously look at the seeds. Other people do research. Other people pick. I think I've read jersey color. Like
Yep.
Some people will just go in
Or
and pick,
mascots.
Yeah, mascots.
Whoever's
There's all
playing
different
Kentucky.
ways to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a game tonight that affects who will determine Florida's
Right.
opponent. So St. Bonaventure versus UCLA tonight at 9:10 p.m. And then so obviously Florida's team will be up late watching that one.
It'll
as well
be
as our Florida fans.
it'll be fun. I'm excited because I just usually I literally coin flip a bracket. I sit in here during midday chalk. T-Wig watches me, checks what the coin says. I write it down. I've done that for years because I don't pay attention to college basketball. It's never been my thing. But I am a Marshall fan, and then we have 2 Rhode Island teams with Rhode Island and Providence. So I'm like, all right, that's not bad.
Must
But
be nice.
I know. But someone like you, Blythe, would you have done what the Lawrence Police Department in Kansas, which I was delighted that they tweeted this out, saying, please do not call 911 to complain about the format of the NCAA tournament selection show. We can't do anything about it, no matter how bad it is.
I do love that tweet. I like it when police departments and just companies in general get a little sassy on Twitter. But no, I did think it was complete BS and a bunch of other expletives that I won't say on air that Louisville is playing in the NIT instead of the regular tournament. You can see that, Arizona, USC, and Louisville all missed the tournament this year, and they're all under NCAA investigation, so I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that it's a conspiracy, but
Arizona made it. Yeah, they made it.
Who else made it? USC? Yeah.
USC did not make it.
Did not make it. And so that was a little bit of a conspiracy red flags. After last year, the self-imposed ban with Louisville, that's when I sort of got out of March Madness. And the only time I really even care about basketball is when Louisville plays Kentucky and March Madness. And I didn't do a bracket last year. It was the first time I didn't do a bracket in years, and I didn't miss it. And so with this year, with Louisville not making it again, it's like, well, what's really the point? I'm
if
mad.
you win? That's the point. I mean, if you play for money, which is
Right.
not legal, but if you were
Not
to
yet.
do that.
The
By the way,
monopoly
what
money.
I find interesting as the NIT tournament is going on with Northern Kentucky up by a point on Louisville, 36-35. It's fascinating. Do you notice what's different about the NIT than the NCAA tournament when you look at the time on the clock?
No.
3:39 left in the third
Oh,
quarter. They don't play
do
halves.
halves?
They play quarters in the NIT. I find that very odd. To me,
why even have
college
the
basketball
NITs?
is halves. It was the very first basketball tournament ever created.
I was
So-
going to say, because everyone has to have a trophy. The losers that don't make the big dance have to have a trophy of their
Well,
own.
it's the NIT honestly is great for mid-majors who don't make it to
Right.
the NCAA tournament, but actually make the NIT, which is a big deal for them. It's not great for programs, yes, like a blue blood, so to speak, like Louisville, who had much higher expectations for this season, and it obviously went awry. I am cheering, by the way, against, and this will come as no surprise, Florida State, but that's an easy one. And honestly, if Florida State makes a little bit of a run in the tournament, it won't make my blood boil like Florida State football, just because I don't think they're actually going to be able to do anything. I'm cheering against
Louisville beat
Ohio
'em.
State. Yep, and that's no surprise either. And then I'm actually cheering against Kentucky. So glad we actually agree on this. And it's just
Whoa.
because Florida beat Kentucky twice, so I don't want Kentucky to get really far.
I just hate them
and
so
Florida
much.
lose.
I hate them so much, and I really want them to be named in this FBI investigation because you know Calipari is a dirty MFer.
Well, he roots.
Hate him.
He recruits a lot of one and done players, but I don't necessarily think that means he's automatically doing anything wrong. I think he's able to recruit them because it's the legend of Kentucky basketball.
Memphis. That's all I got to say.
Maybe it was Memphis. So, what's the biggest sports moment you wish you could call the cops on? For me, it would have been in the Patriots game when Miles Jack
Same.
recovers the fumble and the referees
I'm calling the
did
cops.
not let him return that for a touchdown.
When isn't against?
I'm
Patriots?
calling
Can
the
I do
cops.
that?
That was
That's the
just
only thing that came to
because
mind.
that was just because it prevented the Jaguars from going up by more than 10 points of the Patriots. It had less to do with the Patriots and more to do with
The stupid
the
refs.
fact that that was the fourth time that it happened to the Jaguars. So it's much more of a Jaguar-centric thing. The fourth time in a season that they recover a fumble and could have recovered it for a touchdown.
and when they're specifically taught
And the cops
not
are
to
the
blow
cops.
an early
when the
whistle.
officials call them down, I can easily call them the cops, though. Same difference.
I'm trying to think, and I'm just.
Yeah, of course. You don't have nothing.
Oh, well, can I make up something? Like, can I call the cops and say there was stickum on his helmet, and that's why the ball stuck to his helmet? Can I do that one?
What about Johnny Damon going to the Yankees? I could have called the cops on that one.
So, Marcel went to the Furic Media Day at TPC, and he said Johnny Damon was there.
What?
And he asked me, he goes, is he still good with Red Sox Nation? I go, did he come back to Red Sox Nation?
Why was Johnny Damon at something like this?
That's what I asked.
I'm ready to call the cops now.
He was in town for the Tim Tebow Foundation
Oh, of
event, which was
course.
a week before, so maybe he stayed for
Well,
the
and he
Furic
lives in
one.
What a
Orlando.
loser.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, but
What a loser.
Marcel asked me, he's like, is it okay with Red Sox Nation? I'm like,
No.
did he return? Because then no.
He's dead to me.
No,
He was my favorite
it's not
baseball
okay.
player. And when he joined with the Yankees after writing a book about how he would never go play for them, that's when he became dead to me. My roommate walked in on me with tears coming down my face, and he's like, "What's wrong? Like a death had just happened." I said, "You don't understand."
Well, I haven't. I don't think I've ever cried at anything like that.
Well.
My goodness, no. Unless Tom Hanks did something bad.
Yeah, I don't think anything like that's made me cry, but I mean,
Well,
when you
can't
know,
think of calling the
actually,
cops on anything.
I had tears in my eyes when I read Pazlesny's letter today. That's a little bit different of a situation, but his wording and just the way, to me, it came through that letter that he didn't want to retire, but he felt like it was the right thing to do. I had tears in my eyes when I called Brian after I heard that he was retiring, and I was like, I had like a slight tremble in my voice, like Paul Pazlesny
That's sweet.
is retiring. I just really respect him, and yeah, he didn't go to a rival team or anything
Yeah.
like that, but the fact that it's over, that did make me,
When
but
we
I
had-
feel like I cry easily nowadays.
was it before the AFC Championship game when we had Scobie on, and he was talking about what it meant to the city and the team? I cried a little on that one.
Yeah, it's easy. So Tiger this weekend. D-Mark, did you lock in?
Man, I was excited, and I know my parents don't like to hear this. They are not Tiger fans, but TJ and I are huge Tiger fans.
Team Tiger.
And it's exciting because the little man is old enough now to where he's grasping, and he loves golf. And we haven't really said, hey, who do you want to watch? Because it's kind of been hard. They don't all play every tournament.
Right.
And now
And
Tiger's
they don't all play well every
here.
tournament, therefore,
Right.
by the time the weekend
But I
rolls
mean, his
around, they may not
name
be
for a
there.
young kid is so exciting. I'm like, there's a guy named Tiger. He's like, there's a guy named Tiger? I'm like, you got to watch him. Like, he's amazing, It was so much fun to watch, but it's so funnier to hear everybody comment about it. because he'll have one good day and everybody lights the moon. They go, oh my gosh, he's back, he's going to win this many. He'll have one bad round, they'll be like, nope, never again, he's done. So you go to one end of the spectrum to the other. I'm just happy that he's happy and not injured, and we heard all the stats of all the ratings and everything like that.
Double the ratings.
It's
50% increase from last year on the same tournament.
I mean, he's so exciting.
He's magnetic. And I don't know that there's ever been an athlete tied to a sport that greatly affects it as much as Tiger does with golf. Even with Junior, with NASCAR, and any other sport, I don't know that anybody has the significant impact that Tiger Woods does.
I think the only thing I would think of would be maybe when it's Olympics time and Michael Phelps is racing or something when you're going to that kind of stage.
Lance Armstrong used to be that guy. For cycling, who else could you name that cycled before?
But even with Tiger, it dwarfs both of those two guys, I think.
I think Lance might have been that too, cycling, JJ, but I would say that there wasn't, and maybe it's because this was before social media, but there wasn't the buzz when Lance would race like there was this past weekend. But I can't bring myself to hope for the best for him as far as like winning all these tournaments. I mean, I'm glad he was able to compete in the tournament, but I don't all of a sudden go, oh, now I'm cheering for Tiger. I was never a Tiger fan before, and he's been through a lot health-wise, but also he's been through a lot other than that, and I can't be like, oh my gosh, I really hope he wins a major. I hope he wins this past weekend. I was glad that he's in the mix just because I think it's fantastic for the sport. And as someone who pays attention to it, I love other people starting to pay attention to it. But I can't ever just get to that side of like, yes, I hope Tiger wins Augusta. I want him to win the Masters. No, I don't. I still think he's kind of a prick of a person.
Well, yeah, you're either on one side or the other. You either like him or you don't.
Well, no, that's the crazy part. I feel like
cheering for him.
I feel like other people
will be cheering for him to win the Masters.
Oh hell yeah!
Sure.
I want him to dominate. I want him to win like 10 tournaments in a row. But
I loved that he finished runner-up. I loved that. Like, you know what? You won for so many years. I think it's about time that you learn what it's like to finish second, like Phil Mickelson has done for so many different tournaments.
It's funny. I don't know. You want to see that one shot that you're like, that's that old Tiger.
What was that 40-foot putt that he sank in order to be in the running?
It's you want to see that fist pump, and but it's nice to see that he's not overly
a jerk.
Yeah.
When he missed that putt to tie it at the end.
You're not hearing the bad words. You're not hearing the frustration.
I thought he was going to get a little bit more upset than what he did. And then when he started smiling, I was like, oh, there's Tiger. And then it sort of warmed my heart a little bit.
It's nice. It's nice to see kind of, I mean, I don't know if time away, getting older, I don't know if all that's affected.
But did y'all see it in sort of a similar vein? Elin Woods, his ex-wife, put their house up $50 million. She's selling this house.
I like the people that are like, yeah, her house. I'm like, yeah, that's... Well, that's
who
has a 15-bedroom house just for one person?
She got $100 million in the divorce, and she went from nanny to in what, like 6 years. She got $100 million, and she's selling a house for $50 million.
I mean,
what kind of come up? There's no better come up than what Elin Woods had.
I don't never imagine. I don't care how much money.
She got a lot of money, but then she also was really embarrassed. I think I would way rather have a couple $1 million and have a great husband who's, never cheating on me with Perkins waitresses than I would the $100 million and him, not just ruining the marriage, but also publicly humiliating me.
I mean, that makes it feel a lot better, though.
I'm just
$150 million makes it feel a lot better.
I'm just more saying.
I'd rather never go through it, I guess.
Why would you ever own a 15-bedroom house?
Why not? If you
Why?
can afford it. Hey.
I just wonder who has the funds to buy something like that.
The insurance costs, the cleaning crews. You got to have people that live on site on your property. You're not just living there by yourself. You got attendants. You have maids. You have house cleaners. You have people that take care of the property, and not just one.
How about you get a smaller house and you don't have to pay for any of that?
I don't know. $150 million though fixes a lot of things.
It's an incredible house. I don't know that I would ever. That enough money would ever be the right amount to go through what she went through. That's all I'm saying. It's hard. It's got to be hard with those kids.
Out there for free.
Yeah,
I know she could travel the world and be a cougar and be a sugar mama to anybody she wants. Any hot little pool boy that comes by.
Maybe she should go on Bumble.
Or The Bachelorette.
If you get 100. Sign me up for what Elon did.
All right, when we come back, we're going to get to some local favorites, and we have a Peterbrook chocolate heel to give away, as well as an all-female show was put on about the NHL. What do we think about that? You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dream Fenders Homes on 1010XL.
Hear straight from the players and coaches.
60 minutes. 60 minutes
The
together.
Packers are getting Jimmy Grant.
Jaguars today.
Yeah.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios at Everbank Field, weekdays from 10 to noon.
That face. I just don't.
On 1010
That is.
Who's?
Tired of popping
McCown.
McCown. You know, I got a new respect because when Johnny Manziel was on, I think he did an interview with Barstool or something. He was talking about how he was with Cleveland and how they never taught him how to be a pro until they signed Josh McCown. And Josh McCown was like, okay, this is what we do. This is what time we get here. This is how we study film. Like, this is what we do when you're in the pros. So I have a whole new respect for him. So when people like make fun of him now, I'm like, don't make fun of him. He's a leader.
I'm not making
Kind
fun
of.
of anything but the face.
Yeah, he
The
does have a
Jaguars.
derpy
I
face.
just can't. I just.
on the west side. You've got to stop by the newest
Definitely a derpy face.
location in Lakeshore.
Did you see Brady chug a beer?
I did.
Brent and Frank
Like
talked about it. I did
that.
not.
I mean, like that.
And he looked a little scared before he was gonna do it. Like I didn't. When he set the beers on the table, I was like, he's not gonna chug that. He looks a little too nervous.
No, he was more nervous about trying a strawberry for the first
I
time.
wonder how that fucked up. What?
Yeah, he literally ate a strawberry for the very first time. He hates strawberries.
How does he
Colbert
hate them
goes,
if he's never had them?
That's how Colbert goes. You've never had one. He goes, I hate the smell, so I can't get past the smell, so I don't want to try it. He goes, try one, so he had him try.
Got into an argument the other day, or not an argument, but a debate on the best fruit. Because this guy that I've been hanging out with, he took this bowl of cantaloupe, and he was like, I got some fruit in case you think about my diet and all. And he puts it on the table. I was like, that is the most trash fruit on the
You don't
planet.
like cantaloupe?
I
don't
know.
like cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe,
You don't like
melon.
I don't like melon.
Oh, see, I do.
Watermelon.
I love watermelon.
Honeydew. I don't like them. I think I'm allergic to melons anyway.
I love honeydew.
I told him, I was like, there's a reason why that's like the last fruit to go in a fruit cup. I'm like, because it's the most trash of all the fruits.
Oh, no, not me. I love those. Those are my first. That's what I eat
He
first.
bought a whole thing of cantaloupe. I'm like, ugh.
That's what I eat first.
Probably
I don't
a
eat
tie
pineapple.
between
Oh, I love
pineapple
pineapple.
and kiwi. If you've never had kiwi.
I can't eat pineapple because it's too veiny. I don't like
What
the
about
veins.
kiwi? Have you had kiwi? Oh.
Too veiny? Is that even
Yeah.
real?
Yeah,
I
it's
get
like
it.
when you drink,
Yeah.
like I don't eat oranges, but I'll drink orange juice.
I gotcha.
Because it's too
The
pulpy. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the
It's a lot of work to eat
strains
orange,
kind of.
too.
Huh?
It's a lot of work to eat orange.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want
Just get the little baby clementines.
Nope.
Those are so
That's
easy.
still ridiculous.
I love those. Those are
Ripe
super
kiwis
easy.
are
The only
amazing.
time I work-
mango, also amazing.
See, I'll
I
drink
love
that all day.
mango. Oh,
I can't eat it
you
straight.
can't eat mango?
Mm-mm.
Uh-uh.
I can't eat it straight, but I'll drink it.
Oh,
Put it in a
I know
smoothie.
Grapefruit.
About it.
Grapefruit is one I can drink, but I can't eat.
Eat grapefruit. Eat
See, now
orange.
that's veiny, but I'll eat that. I don't know why.
I've seen people
Well, if you
cut it
ever
in like a
want
bowl.
Grapefruit.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather tries
what I
to
do.
give them to me. Papaya is good. Coconut is good.
You don't want to. You want
Something
to
tropical.
not gain weight. You just eat grapefruit.
I've
Grapefruit and egg whites, man.
Egg whites, cool.
I had this drink that this one of my girlfriends made, and she put champagne and tequila in it with grapefruit. Shit was good. Real
I bet
good.
so. Champagne and grapefruit, I bet.
Really chugged that fast. I just know I should.
Right?
this time.
I mean, he said that he used to be really good in the day. He said,
I would imagine so.
right? Aren't you impressed by that?
Yeah.
I was like, dang. Poor Colbert is still drinking it.
Well, you notice that Colbert paused because you could tell he was like, "Are we doing the down up?" And then he sees Brady just go back, so he doesn't, and then he starts to drink. So I'll give him a half.
It was
a second.
impressive. That's so funny.
Did you see what I sent as far as the Bortles stuff in Void? He
Oh, that was such a good interview.
It
You know
was
how they
really
got
good.
him?
Yeah.
He was walking by the office, and
he
Zach,
was in Jellycomb, I thought.
their editor. I saw Aaron Colvin in there a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah,
I think
didn't
Zach.
say
He was
anything,
eating Blake was eating breakfast in Jellycomb, and Zach walked in and was like, "Hey, do you want to do an interview?" And Blake was like, "Sure." And he walked back.
That's the only way you're gonna get an interview with Blake. Because if you try to go through the Jaguars PR, it ain't gonna
I thought it
happen.
was hilarious that Zach, the guy, didn't know that he went. He was like, "What school did you go to?" He didn't know UCF. Like, she said he's not a sports guy, but I still
No.
like. I feel like it's impossible not to know that. I don't know.
Zach is so chill and just a cool ass guy that he is the only one that could pull that off. I think.
Was he expecting to see Bortles
No.
there?
He said in the interview that they see him there a lot, so I don't think it was a surprise that he was in there.
They probably knew going through Jag PR wasn't going to happen.
He said in there he doesn't do press.
You're listening
they're
to
trying to put it
Helmets
on.
and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by
Too bad they couldn't do that to Virginia.
and American Window Products.
Good, I'm going to talk for the song.
1010XL,
Okay.
92.5
In some kind.
FM.
One segment to go on a fabulous Tuesday evening as free agency was crazy today, and saw the Jaguars getting a top guard as well as an Andrew Norwell from the Panthers, as well as Dante Moncrief from the Colts, wide receiver, to help this Jaguars squad, as the Jaguars had to say goodbye, though, or will say it tomorrow, I suppose, officially, to wide receiver Allen Robinson
Bye.
and cornerback Aaron Colvin. I was actually sad about the Aaron Colvin, but when I
Yeah.
saw how much money he got, I thought, okay, well, that makes
I thought for
perfect
sure
sense.
he was going to re-sign in Jacksonville. But.
I did not, just because he was projected to be drafted much higher than he was, but then he tore his ACL in the Senior Bowl, and that's why he only went in the 4th round. And I think the moment that he could get back to a point where he could be a starting outside corner instead of a nickel, he was ready to do that. And obviously the Texans think that he can be a starting cornerback. I think they probably really missed A.J. Boye, and so they got lucky that the Jaguars couldn't afford to keep Aaron Colvin. All right, the NHL held a special all-female hosted show. We've been doing this show, this is our 4th season, all females talking sports and other fun stuff for 2 hours a week. Are female shows, all female shows, becoming much more of a normal thing, or are females in the sports media becoming more of a normal thing, but still all female shows are kind of special?
I felt like this one in particular, when I first saw the headline, I thought it was going to be an all-female show for a long period of time. And then I found out it's only one show. And I'm like, well, damn it. Like, that's not the point. Like, the point is to get more women, to, especially with a sports opinion, to have a seat at the table. And and what they said about this show is it's a normal NHL Now show, except for it's just going to be hosted by all women. And so I figured it was just going to be a normal show that they have regularly, but it's just a one-time thing for their Hockey is for Everyone campaign that the NHL started, I think, last year. And that's to sort of be more open and inclusive with women and the LBGT community, but I don't know. I just, it's sort of like, okay, well, that's nice that you're going to do it one time, but why not more? That was my big question.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's for us. It's obviously it's just normal.
Yeah.
You know, we have our own show here. We always have women on, and it's just, I think making a big deal out of it throws more attention to it, and it doesn't need attention because we're just girls that love our job, know what we're talking about, and that should be it. The guys don't get attention for their shows. You know, why should we get any extra attention for our shows?
To me, I think it's awesome anytime a sport is going to do something that's a little different. And I think we're seeing it a little bit more in NASCAR, that there's actually some more females involved in hosting shows and reporting. And I think that's where women got in as sideline reporters. And now they've finally transitioned to hosts and to commentators and to play-by-play and all that fun stuff. And so I think that part's awesome. But I agree that if you're just going to do the one special, it's almost like a pat on the head. Like, oh yeah, you know, we trust that you can hold your own for about an hour, but we don't trust you to do this all the time.
Right.
So it needs to be something that's a regular thing if they liked it, if they thought the women did well.
It's just, I wonder when we'll get to it. I look forward to the day that this isn't newsworthy, that it's just the norm, which I did like how they took the approach, like I said earlier, that they said that this is going to be a normal show, but it's just going to be hosted by all women. But I just think that in today's climate, in today's day and age, if this is something really important to you, or important to you as a company, as a brand, as a league, then why not experiment with more shows like this on a regular basis and see what your audience gravitates towards? sports. Because if they were to do a 1-hour show each week on Facebook Live or YouTube live stream, anything like that, then they could gauge their audience in a very inexpensive way instead of a full TV set and production and all that good stuff. Why not experiment more with it on a more committed basis? And I think that hopefully that's where it's going to be heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think you're starting to see females infiltrate sports that they hadn't before. And hockey, I think, is a good one because women have played hockey or can play hockey. We just saw
the women's team won gold.
Yeah, we just saw the United States women win gold. So it certainly lends itself to easier color commentating because the women have played. And I understand that can be a knock against some females when it comes to reporting about football or commentating about football. But at the same time, you have to recognize that not all the guys that are commentating on it and doing usually the guys doing the color. Mm-hmm. But yeah, play-by-play haven't always played.
Yeah, they do play-by-play because they can't play.
Or they're just really good at broadcasting and they don't want to get hit in the head, especially if it's football. All right, time now to win the Peterbrooke Chocolate Heel. Text into the 1010XL text line driven by Duval Ford. That would be 641-1010. And tell us either the name of the song or the artist that's going to play now. I know this one. This is an artist coming to Daly's Place, so that helps you.
May 13th.
Oh, you're even giving a giant hint.
I'm
surprised. Going to be that nice.
I thought you would have went with who got announced to play for the military night at the Players.
I told JJ just pick anybody coming to Daly's Place, but that is a fun announcement because. Well, at least I was excited because it's somebody
I thought of you right away.
I've gotten to see twice.
Luke Combs. What does he sing?
Hurricane?
Country.
I knew it was country because they always have a country song.
Hurricane was his very first, and I don't know if it went to number 1, but that was his very first hit. And then next, When It Rains, It Pours, and then One Number Away. Those have all come out on the radio. But he is somebody who I saw for free last summer. And not a lot of people, everybody knew the song Hurricane by that point because he was brand new. But not a lot of people knew anything else because his album had just come out maybe like a month before. And then I saw him at the Florida Theater in December and the concert had sold out very quickly. So you can tell he's one of those country artists that just leapt up in the realm of fame and success, and that's awesome. And during the show at the Florida Theater, he kept saying, I had a really good year, to the point, like the 5th time he said it, I looked at Brian, I'm like, we get it, you made a lot of money this year. I understand. Just, keep singing. But no, he's fantastic, and I'm excited for people who maybe haven't seen him in concert yet to get to see him. And that's such a fun show anyway. By the way, it's moved up. This year it'll be at 5:30 that Tuesday.
Okay.
So if you guys want to see him perform, you'll have to get there a little earlier than you normally would.
That'll be during
It'll still be during Frank's show, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that they're not going to need me for that 30 minutes or 45 minutes that Luke's playing.
That's
and
good.
I'll just kind of skedaddle out to the
I'm going to remember
stage
to bring flashlights this time.
For us
because
to
everything
get
went dark for us
I'm just
during our
happy
show.
that we'll be the center of attention and not the country artist singing.
We'll actually have room.
Because usually they're singing in the background. It's like, hey, pay attention to us.
They usually are singing in the background. Sam Hunt was last year, and he did a great job. And I think, you saw the age of attendees shift from, say, like when a Toby Keith performs to the Sam Hunt. You got to see.
I don't think it's necessarily the age. I saw the gender switch. I saw a mass amount of young females
I wonder
at the
why.
Sam Hunt concert.
And I can't remember if the news had come out that he was married by that point or not, because he kind of did it a little bit surreptitiously, the whole girlfriend to wife thing. But either way, yeah, Luke Combs will be here. That'll be on Tuesday of TPC week, and I am very excited about it. A couple other things that I wanted you guys to know about from TPC week, or from TPC Media Day that was held on Monday. Siwoo Kim was the winner last year, and so he is hoping to become the first player ever to repeat, which would obviously be a difficult feat. But it was fascinating so he doesn't speak English, he speaks Korean, and so it was fascinating to watch him try and understand what the people asking the questions were saying. And then it was so funny. So he goes through his interpreter, Except the question that someone asked, are you excited about the way Tiger's playing? And immediately he starts nodding. He recognized that word Tiger, and he said, then he spoke through his interpreter, he was like, I absolutely love everything that Tiger's doing for the sport. I've always respected him. It's so fun now that I get to watch. He has not yet played in the tournament with him, but he's certainly looking forward to hopefully, potentially playing against him here. All right, so seeing the weather that's been going on this week, a little bit chillier than normal in March. The tournament's going to move back to March next year. You prepared for it? Do you kind of like it since it won't be as hot?
I do like it because TPC week in May is dreadfully hot.
Yes.
And you try.
JJ just says yes from the other room.
And you try. I mean, that's one of the few places that, like, you have to prepare to go all day. So when you first get there, it's great. Everybody looks wonderful. But then by about midday, everybody stinks. Everybody's sweaty, and it's crowded, and you're bumping into people, and they're getting their sweat all over you, and it's gross.
And you can tell the people who arrive later too, because they still have like the perfect hair and the perfect makeup, and you're like, I am so sweaty.
Give you a few hours.
Like Thursday or Friday morning to like 1 or 2 o'clock.
Just because then it's not too hot.
Yeah, it's great then. And Thursday and Friday, like the big players still play in the morning, so you can see pretty much anybody.
It's more walkable too versus the weekend. I don't go on the weekends. I go only during the week. So Tuesday through Friday are my favorite days to go, especially Friday because everybody's sort of cut out of work early, and so you get a chance to see a lot of people.
I think it's going to be more fun for the field aspect of it.
I think
it's going to be right. That's why I think you're going to see 17 is going to be so much more fun.
Going to be so windy.
Yeah,
potentially rainy.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I want it to be hard like it used to. Not that it's not hard now, but we haven't seen Jordan Spieth make a cut. We haven't seen, the star players, and it's sad. And it's going back to the point of when I make my point of going, yeah, you win and then you don't win again. Like Siwoo Kim,
Ricky Fowler too.
Yes.
He won a couple years ago. I thought it was great for the tournament, and then he sort of disappeared.
Yeah, it's
Tiger hasn't won since he won.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not a good thing. So I want to see it get hard again. I want to see it be more challenging for the top players that we love, and maybe they'll make the weekend as opposed to missing it. So I don't know.
I think if we get the type of mild March weather that we could have, I think that will be the perfect blend of the tournament moving back to March. And for some people, some players love the heat. They're fine with it. Other golfers absolutely can't stand the heat. Like Siwoo was saying, he would rather it not be in May and it be that hot. So, that'll be interesting to see it change. But we can have gorgeous weather in March. So I'm hoping that at least for that week every year, we get no rain and I don't care as much about the wind, but I don't want it to be cold. Just because it is kind of that first time of the year when people get to bust out the sundresses and, you want to be able to enjoy the weather and not. I remember a few years being cold and wet and, waiting for the tournament to resume for hours. And so I really just hope that that's not the case. One other thing I wanted to let y'all know about, but especially you'll appreciate this. There will be a new beer garden at TPC presented by Hoptinger. They've never had a beer garden before. Yeah, and
good job, Void.
Yeah, they are
Making
going
moves.
to. I don't know if they're going to have them there, but they gave us growlers that have the media that have in the engraved players logo.
Nice. And
so that was fantastic.
Nice.
So I think it's amazing to me. Every year I go, I think this tournament cannot get any better. It's so fantastic. And yet each year they work on ways to improve it. I know last year they did the very first Uber ride-sharing experience, and people complained because the wait was way too long. So now they're working on another way of logistics where they're going to shuttle people to where the Uber area is, and that should hopefully help alleviate a lot of that traffic issue that they had last year. So they're always trying to make improvements. The media area that we get to go into has apparently been completely renovated, so I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
And then also, each year the players makes not only do they donate the majority of their earnings that they make from that week to local charities, but they really put a strong emphasis on local businesses and getting Tacos on 12. I assume is back there as well.
Yes.
Taco Lou is a Jack Speaks institution. But any of the other local businesses, I love how they take that approach versus just letting any old corporate style business in.
Yeah, it's really one of the best parts about living here is having that right in your backyard. And yes, there can be traffic, but they're going to this year advise people to get there early. Plan to get there 30 minutes before you normally would, and then that'll help a lot in the traffic. And obviously now with the Nocatee way of going, that can help alleviate some of the issues as well. It just don't expect to go on a Friday at noon and not sit in traffic.
You're,
right? Like
you're going to wait a couple hours.
Yeah, you're going to wait a while. So I understand for some people they don't have any other choice, but if you can avoid it, if you can get there a lot earlier and maybe take the whole day off, I certainly recommend it because it's a fun place. I love walking around the grounds. It's such a fun place to be, and also it's a gorgeous place.
Even if you're not a golf fan, like there's something to do and something to see everywhere on the course.
They have a kid zone, so kids are taken care
They
of.
do.
Military
Yeah,
zone.
Oh yeah, and they're
Yeah, we're always hanging out
expanding
there.
the players' retail shop is now going to be 21,000 square feet.
And it was already big.
It was
It's
already
huge.
big, right? Now it's going to be even bigger. And they partnered with local company Flow Motion to design some shirts and merchandise for this year. So I just think they're like you said, locally, they're always trying to find ways to help local businesses and also bring in that local business back into the community. So it's just I love it.
And moving it to March is it's so smart too because there's nothing going on right now. It's outside of NFL free agency and you know
the NCAA tournament.
You know screw the NCAA right now. That's my
You're
mood.
winning right now in the NIT.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
In the fourth quarter, as a matter of fact.
It's
I know,
so
fourth
weird.
quarter. That is
Fourth
so weird
quarter.
the NIT does that.
See, this is a joke.
All right, we're almost out of time, but I need you ladies to tell me your favorite place to go for a day adventure in Jacksonville.
Well, that one's easy because that would be in my neighborhood, and that would be the splash park right there.
She really gets out.
I do. I get out of my door and into the neighborhood pool area, which opens
I'll
up
give
this
two.
Saturday.
I'll give two. I'll give a local. Well, they're both local, but one is almost a free option, only $5 to get in. Hannah Park is one of the most beautiful places in North Florida. Definitely go check that out for a day adventure. Lots of hiking, bike trails, beach access. They do have a water park there too, which you can take the little kids to, and campgrounds and all that good stuff. And then a little more pricier of an option is a wildlife conservation on the north side, and just on the border of Florida and Georgia, and it's called White Oak Conservation, and they are probably the most unreal experience you can ever have. It's almost like visiting another country when you go out to this conservation. They have rhinos, they have giraffes and cheetahs, all kinds of stuff out there.
Very nice. And I will go with one that I thought you were going to mention, Blythe, but I'm glad you didn't because it's the only one that I have, and that would be Fort George. I absolutely love going there, and yes, you need a boat or a jet ski to get there, but you can rent boats for a half day, and I absolutely love it. You can also go right across and go visit the plantation that's over there.
Yep.
I love reading about sugarcane and the way things were done, 150 years ago. And yeah, the history. I just went to a wedding, by the way, Saturday at the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. I knew about the Fountain of Youth, but I had no idea they had all this other stuff to go with it. So that's another cool place. They had peacocks all over, and so my friend did a peacock-themed wedding, which was fantastic and gorgeous colors and everything. The only slight issue is that I'm afraid of birds, and so I could not go anywhere near the peacocks, and my friends were making fun of me. And
I love you, but I'm going to stay out here.
Yes, I had to be like, there's had to be someone in between me and the peacock at all times.
It's like those Canadian
I was
geese.
a little nervous.
Just want to kill them.
All right, thanks to our fill-in producer tonight, JJ LaSava, who did a fabulous job. Stay tuned for Hacker After Dark with Andrew Gibson. That comes up until midnight. For Blythe Brumleve and Donna Murphy, I'm Lauren Brooks. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night.
You poor thing. I didn't know you were afraid of birds.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, YouTube. Go
that
Jags, per the
Bye.
usual.